I've got myself a new song that I'm going to sing. It's got some verses and that middle thing. There's just one thing that's certainly going to bore us. I'm going to tell.
Well, hello everybody, John Neal here. I'm going to say sign writer, handwriting tutor and all that stuff. But in fact, this is just going to be a vlog. I'm just going to talk about stuff. And I'd just like to contact people around wherever. It could be next door. It's on the internet, but the internet is so fantastic that I just like to make contact with somebody else in the big wide ether around the place. So if you'd like to comment underneath about what I'm talking about, and hopefully positively, we don't want all that. Some people see this as an opportunity to be rather nasty to people, which I think is a bit absurd. Anyway, we take that on the chin if it happens. The internet, fantastic. In fact, we just lost the internet overnight. It broke down yesterday outside somewhere, and so it didn't work. So there's lots of things which you couldn't do. I made a little list actually. It's amazing how we just in 12 hours we were relying on it. I check email fairly regularly. I could get it because I went through to my phone, the ubiquitous iPhone, and I got 4G here, which is fine because I'm in Nuneaton in the middle of England, and we've got internet and we've got 4G, and I'm not in the middle of nowhere. Excuse me. I checked email, but I had to go on 4G to do it. What else? Facebook, I've looked straight away, see what's going on, and I couldn't immediately do that. Margaret, my good lady wife, wanted to order some food for her mother who lives on her own about 100 miles away, so we ordered stuff online for her and buy other things as well. I buy a lot of stuff off Amazon. Rightly or wrongly, some people said they don't do it because the staff are not treated well, but I hope they are when they deal with my stuff. But I ordered quite a lot of things on there very, very easily. It's just slightly annoying when things turn up. I'll say something in a minute about going abroad. You're ordering food. So she orders food online. She couldn't do that last night, and it was done beforehand, so that was nice. I might leave these coughs in because we're all suffering a bit from the colds and flu and terrible. It's not easy. In fact, at the moment, I'll show you a picture. Outside, it's been snowing. It doesn't usually snow this time of year in England. It's early December. We don't get snow at Christmas, but we've had a sudden snap, and there's about 4 or 5 inches of snow, which has almost brought the country to its knees. What else did we do? Oddly enough, I was doing a diary on my iMac, typing it out using Pages and pulling photographs across. It's really good fun. And rather than just pressing all the buttons all the time, I dictate to the machine, which for the most part works very well. But I noticed that it uses the internet in order to do it. So it must connect to some sort of big brain somewhere that interprets the noises that I make, which are the words, and then puts them on the page. I'm started to write a blog for a handwriting firm. Well, it's a firm that sells pens, and they've got some fountain pens, and I was writing a blog for them. And I could not make the iMac recognise the word pen. Pen. Fairly common item, pen. But no, it couldn't recognise the word pen. Put everything else but pen. When I said fountain pen, it was okay, but pen on its own just wouldn't hear it. And I really tried very hard to say pen in my best English. Wouldn't have it. Anyway, what else can I do? Oh, and then the TV and radio. The TV, obviously, that fell down because it's fed by cable from the road, so that didn't work. And we often listen to the radio because we've got some nice speakers around the TV, so the radio coming through there is good. That didn't work either. So suddenly, with no internet and cable connection, we were sort of twiddling our thumbs wondering what to do. There you go. Yeah, talking of abroad, Been back to America. Went there last year because my son and his wife Kate live in America, and my son's name's John as well, by the way. And they've had a baby, a lovely little baby, and she is just about 1 year old this month. So we were back there last 2 weeks ago, for 2 weeks in California. And it's fascinating going abroad to see how other people in other countries just simply get on with living. They do things which everybody else has to do. For instance, and it's just amazing to see how they manage it. Because so many things are universal, makes of cars and iPhones and all these sorts of things, traffic lights and roads. I'm talking about the developed world. I know in less developed countries things are very, very different, and they're still struggling to get on top of things. But in America, one of the things they do is that the house numbers in the street in San Jose were written on the curbstones, which I thought was rather clever. And they say, particularly for emergencies, if you've got an ambulance and say it goes to a certain number, go there, and you can see straight away what it is. In this country, our number of the houses in the street are absolutely useless. It's terrible. You got no idea. There's no consistency to it. You don't know where you are. And I think writing the numbers on the curbstone is a very, very good idea. However, oddly enough in America, I don't think I ever saw a number which was less than 1,000. So you've got a nice little street with about 50 houses in it. And one is 1,147. The next one, there was no logic to either. Maybe next door would be 1,138. It was just weird. So they got the numbers, but they were a bit odd. If anybody can explain that, please do, because it's slightly weird. Right, the other thing they did, I thought the Americans did concrete very well. You walk along the pavement, sidewalk. Maybe they call it sidewalk because it's not always paved with paving slabs, although they did have some paving slabs. But when it came to sort of a sunken curb where you run straight onto the road, they had concreted it, and it was very, very good concrete, beautifully arranged. And where we were, there were trees planted next to the sidewalk. And where the slabs lift, because of the roots of the trees lift them, they always will and always do. They do it in my street, and they certainly did in San Jose, in this suburb. I swear they'd gone along with some sort of concrete planer machine, and they'd taken it along, and where they came to a step which you could trip on, they'd actually planed it off. It'd been scraped off by a big machine, and you could see it scraped down to the under concrete stuff. So that was interesting. That's another way of getting around that problem. But so many other things. I mean, it's just fascinating going to another country. I like it a lot by experiencing those things, but the actual travelling can be a bit awesome. I've said awesome. Didn't mean to say awesome. The Americans say awesome quite a lot. But it has to say, I'll say this much. When you are travelling, and my two boys, I've got two sons, they're in their 30s now, but one of the things I say to them, or used to say to them, is when you go out in the car, take a good coat with you and be prepared to get stuck, because you never know where you are. The car may break down on the motorway and you have to stand there for a few hours. So take something to eat, something to drink, and take a coat, so you're going to be warm. Don't go out in your shirt in the winter and just hope you're going to get there. It doesn't work that way. And as a consequence, at the moment, with the snow as it is, it's quite easy to get stuck. And the motorways in this country, I'll say this about our motorways, I mean, they're fantastic really when they work properly, but I think they're like a person that's about to have a heart attack. The country's got these arteries and veins going up and down it, which are the motorways. But as soon as you block one, bang, everything stops. And it's a complete disaster. All the roads get blocked. You could, and I have, been stuck between junctions where there's been a hold-up for 2 or 3 hours. And suddenly you set off in a beautiful car, heading along at 70 miles an hour. The best of modern conveniences really, And what happens? You get stuck on a motorway, and within a few minutes you're like a refugee. You've got no food, you've got no water, you're just destitute. It's a terrible thing, and you ought to be prepared for it. In fact, on one occasion, before we went to the States, it frightened us a little bit. The motorways were closed, particularly one motorway, because there was a black plastic bag under a bridge with some stuff oozing out of it. They thought it was a bomb. They closed the motorway for 6 hours. Can you imagine somebody trying to go to the airport, or going for an interview or an appointment anywhere, or desperately trying to get somewhere, and you were stuck on the motorway for 6 hours? That is desperate. So it's really annoying when that sort of thing happens. Changing subject completely, I have a very nice letter here from a relative, and it's a round robin. So when you send a Christmas card out, you print off a letter that everybody gets, and it tells you what they're being up to. And some people object to these. I don't mind at all, it's fine. If you're going to say what you're going to say it, and they make a particular move out into the country, and I think it's nice that they've written a letter just to simply inform us what's going on. Yeah, it might have been interesting if they'd signed the letter as well as the card, but nevertheless, it's okay. But some people object to these things. Isn't it odd how sometimes there are things which happen in life which some people are happy with, and other people are intensely annoyed by? Yes, I occasionally sing at a folk club. Makes me smile, really. There's a great tradition of folk clubs in this country. In fact, for those of you in America, let me tell you this. Paul Simon lived here in England for about 18 months and toured all around the folk clubs and sort of built up his reputation and became a very well-respected folk singer, which was the vogue in the 60s. And no doubt there were similar clubs elsewhere, like in America and France and Europe. But the folk clubs still exist in this country, and the whole folk music scene is quite interesting. And when you go to a folk club, and when I first went to a folk club 40 years ago, somebody somewhere, I don't know who first did this, but they always tell you that the song that they're about to sing has got a chorus, and that you can join in. So you can take a song like, let's say, Streets of London, which is a very famous song by Ralph McTell, and, or, you know, any song like Beach Boys might sing, what's it called? Barbara Ann. So they never start up, oh, by the way, we're going to sing a song called Barbara Ann, and it's got a chorus, and you can join in. Nobody ever says that, because it's pointless. And yet in folk clubs, they still do it. They sing a song, or about to sing a song, they'll introduce it, and the only way they can think of introducing the song is to say, oh, by the way, it's got a chorus. And the chorus is, and then, this is the best bit, they then try and say the chorus, so they tell you the words to the chorus. But you can't do it. You've got to sing it, and you've got to sing it in context. Otherwise it doesn't go. So invariably, you know they're going to stumble on this. So they start, so I'm going to sing Streets of London, and the chorus is, and and it's like that. It's just painful. And once you've noticed it, it sort of grates every time it happens. So I wrote a song about that. It's a song with a chorus, and everybody had to sing it. And it was quite amusing to do, I suppose. I enjoyed it anyway. It got something off my chest. You know, that's enough for now. I'm not going to do any more. This is a vlog, as I've said before. No sign writing, no whatever. And I've thrown one or two extra images in, pictures of bits and pieces which might be of interest. But I just like to, I've enjoyed doing it. And if you want to respond to this in the comments and throw anything back at me in the nicest possible way, thank you very much. Then I'd be very interested to make that connection, because I'm throwing this out to YouTube, to you on YouTube, and it would be nice to have some response back. And I think that's the joy of this sort of it's sort of private television, really, isn't it? And yet it is being broadcast to people as far and wide as want to pick it up, which I think is absolutely fascinating. By the way, I've got 2 channels. One is my old email address, which has got 10,000 viewers on it, subscribers. But I'm not using that. I'm going to put this one on my other one, which has got far fewer. So I'll see if it gets a pickup and people take some notice and want to. I say I'm doing that because it's easier to do it on the computer. It means I've got to sort of sign out of one, sign into another channel to put it on. So I'm just putting this on there. All I've got to check is that the internet's back on. If it's not, the whole of the last 10 minutes or so has been a complete waste of time. But I'm sure it hasn't. Okay, see you again next time. Bye-bye.
Well, I've got myself a new song that I'm going to sing. It's got some verses and that middle thing. There's just one thing that's certainly going to bore us. I'm gonna tell you that it's got a chorus. I know you've been listening to songs for years. You've got chorus songs coming out of your ears. You think something's missing, I'll soon get it sorted. This song has a chorus, who would have thought it? Now's the time, this delay is outrageous. So here's the chorus, it's catchy, contagious.
Here we go now.
This is the chorus, so please sing along. Did you think I'd keep the secret to myself for so long? Everybody knows it's the chorus I'm singing. I'm so excited, it's salvation I'm bringing. Hallelujah. So there, now I've done it. The cat's out the bag. You know what the score is. There's no finger to